The clocks had ticked past 10 p.m. on Tuesday and a cold snap continued to blow off the Bosphorus. Outside Vodafone Park, however, a throng remained. The home of Besiktas has become a blood bank and a makeshift post office, for boxes of aid, for bottles of water, both of which pile high around the stadium. Volunteers began the relief effort on Monday, after the first of two deadly earthquakes devastated parts of Turkey and Syria. Across Istanbul, football has become a hub for help. Fenerbahce opened their ground, with former Leeds wideman Ezgican Alioski among those helping load trucks with blankets and baby clothes. Galatasaray have sent more than 40 lorries of supplies and portable toilets on the 12-hour drive to the epicenter. As of Thursday night, the death toll stood at more than 19,000. Sportsmail landed in Istanbul on Monday night to find a country in shock and soon in snow. They did not feel the tremors here, but across the water, over the middle bridge, past the giant flag flying at half-mast, players and staff of Fatih Karagümrük were shaken by what they heard. And what they hadn't. AC Milan legend Andrea Pirlo has spoken out about the earthquake that has hit Turkey. Turkish football has come together to give aid, with Besiktas Stadium becoming a blood bank. Pirlo, who now manages Super League side Fatih Karagümrük, wants to do anything possible to help Turkish people after the tragedy. Volkan Demirel, their former manager now in charge of Hatayspor, had released a heartbreaking plea from the front line. Two of his fitness coaches went missing amid the rubble. Players and football staff have been among those lost. Thankfully, the two coaches were found alive by the time Andrea Pirlo's squad gathered for lunch at their temporary training base in the hills above Istanbul. Earlier, those players who could negotiate the wind and snow and slushy country roads trained in the gym. The TV was switched off, but a flick through the channels that morning provided only a slideshow in tragedy and devastation, buildings flattened or slumped over like dominoes, bodies pulled from the wreckage, a race against time unfolding on camera. For striker Fabio Borini, once of Chelsea and Liverpool, trauma began to resurface, of an earthquake he survived in Italy, which left his family sleeping in a car for a week. This time, the aftershocks will go on even longer. Former Chelsea and Liverpool star Fabio Borini has memories of an earthquake in Italy. Pirlo, his staff and players helped load aid onto trucks bound for badly affected Arishazirladijimiz Yardım Kolalarimizi, A Fet Bolgizin Gitmek Uzir Yardım Tiramizi Yukluyoruz. pic.twitter.com/DWHZ9ZC7MR, Vavakars Fatih Karagümrük SK, @Karagümrük_SK, February 9, 2023. I am sorry for what has happened, I am sorry for everybody, Pirlo says. I hope we can contribute something to help them overcome this huge tragedy. On Thursday, the manager, his staff and players helped load aid onto trucks bound for badly affected areas. I am very sorry also for Volkan, who unfortunately is there in this tragic moment. We want to help. We know it will be difficult, but we are trying to do our bit. I send a big hug to everyone. It is nearly lunchtime in the bunker beneath Turkish football's Riva base when Pirlo slips out of the gym. He wanders down the corridor, past the physio room and through another door marked hydrotherapy. There is no pool inside, just a few bare necessities, but Pirlo soon emerges with another form of liquid remedy, coffee. Take the man out of Italy, and he might build a slice of home away from home. Outside, snow and wind swirl off the Black Sea and batter the temporary base of this top-flight side undergoing an Italian job. Pirlo, his staff and several players have headed east, to a club without a permanent training center or stadium. This is home for now, it's a nice city, a beautiful life, says Pirlo, the great midfielder whose family have settled in the chic Misantasi district following his appointment last June. It's been tough because it's different to Italy and other countries. But now I am okay. Pirlo says he and his family are well settled in Turkey after he was sacked by Juventus in 2021 after one season at Juventus, which ended with 2 trophies and the sack. This is the 43-year-old's second stab at management. Fatih Karagümrük spoke to Robbie Keane about taking over before appointing Pirlo on a 1-year deal. For me, it's important to have big objectives, Pirlo explains. When I was a player, I played always to win the big trophies, and now I have the same objective. I am here to improve, but the ambition is to go into a big team, to win the Champions League. Because if you don't have ambition, you have to stay home. Turkey's Super League is suspended following the earthquakes, with Pirlo's side unbeaten in their past 7 league matches, a run that has coincided with the manager kicking out certain players described as cancerous by one teammate. When I was a player, it was different, it was easy, says Pirlo, who won 18 major trophies with the likes of AC Milan and Juventus. You think just how you can play, the result, if you play well or not. When you are a coach, you have to understand everything. Pirlo's men are unbeaten in 7 matches, with the coach taking a tough stance on the side. You have to talk with 20 people with different mentalities, maybe 10 are happy, the others are not. So it's a difficult job, it's different work, and in the dugout, reputations do not buy success. I am a normal person, I know I've been an important player. But now it's totally different because I am a new coach, a young coach, Pirlo says. I have to work well, because every day is important to improve, like for the players. During his 2 decades in midfield, Pirlo played with inimitable calm and cool, his passing, positioning, the flop of brown hair, that allergy to being ruffled. At 43, style still comes effortlessly. He sits down with sportsmail, twirling his beard, in a roll neck, knitted hoodie and jogging bottoms. Now, though, his easy manner and slow drawl belie a manager developing more regimen. I have 3 or 4 rules, Pirlo explains. Among them, I don't like phones before the game. I don't like that players arrive to meetings late. If they arrive late, they don't play. When you are on the field, you have to work 100%. After, you can do what you want. Even by Turkish football standards of instability, Fatih Karagümrük are particularly unconventional. Karagümrük play home games at the Ataturk Stadium, where Pirlo's AC Milan surrendered a 3-0 lead against Liverpool in the 2005 Champions League final. He has never watched it back. Pirlo has added structure, but the metronome is trying to conduct a band who, to put it mildly, play to their own beat. They currently train at this plush facility. Borini does extra sessions in the local park. For now, home games are played at the Ataturk Stadium, where Pirlo's AC Milan surrendered a 3-0 lead against Liverpool in the 2005 Champions League final. The Italian has vowed never to watch that game back. He struggled to go on afterwards. So returning there must have made him shudder? Yeah, a little bit, Pirlo smirks. Because it was the first time that I came back. I had recollections of the final. Now, though, he is writing new memories with the help of several Italian players and staff. His fitness coach, Paolo Bertelli, worked with Antonio Conte at Chelsea. Pirlo played under the now Spurs manager at Juventus. I learned so many things, he says. Sometimes I talk with him and, for me, it was very important to understand his mentality because he has been one of the best coaches in my career. The winning mentality is the key. The concentration. He always puts you on a good direction to work and to play. Pirlo takes influence from a number of coaches in his career, including Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti, his manager at Milan who almost brought him to Chelsea, is another source of inspiration. He's very calm, he has a good relationship with all the players and he always has one word for everything, Pirlo says. It's important because if you stay in a big team, you have to understand when you have to talk and when not to. Pirlo wants his sides to dominate the ball and dictate games. So, among those he now looks to as examples? Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola. It's important to understand and learn from them, he says. Had this opportunity not arisen, Pirlo might have shadowed Guardiola at Manchester City. He was invited to Paris Saint-Germain by then-manager Mauricio Pochettino, too, after they crossed paths in Ibiza. Juventus had already afforded him a baptism of fire. He was tasked with negotiating COVID, and handling Cristiano Ronaldo. His first role as a manager saw him work with Cristiano Ronaldo, right, but he insists it was an easy experience for me. It was easy to work with him, Pirlo insists. He was a good guy, very professional. He wanted to play every game, to score every game. We didn't have a problem, but football changes very quickly. Age also. Ronaldo, 38, is now in Saudi Arabia after being chucked out by Manchester United. Maybe he had a problem with another team, but for me it was a good experience, Pirlo says. Another crucial lesson in this new career. No one at Fatih Karagümrük has Ronaldo's pedigree, but that has taught Pirlo something, too. When I came here, I had one opinion for my football. But when you are here, you have to understand you can't do the same thing, he admits. It's hard to change your opinion, but you have to. Otherwise you have a problem. The makeup of this squad forced him to tweak his style. Another potential problem for retired legends? Working with players who cannot do what came easily to them. During one session, a midfielder supposedly turned to his manager and said, "I am not you." Pirlo has high expectations and has had to change his opinion on how his teams play football. You don't need to be a snobby person, a big-headed person. The old players need to understand, you are a coach, not an ex-player, Pirlo says. The manager needs to know what he can ask of his group of players because every group of players has a different style and you need to adapt. You need to ask of them things they can do. This is important. No England manager of recent times has been able to ask their midfield to imitate this maestro. At Euro 2012, Pirlo's Panenka and puppet mastery shone a light on this country's shortcomings. I think now they have more quality, he says of England. Maybe 10 years ago, it was different, very good players but not with the same quality. Alas, the search for our own conductor goes on. Pirlo is a huge fan of Barcelona's Frenkie de Jong, one of the best midfielders in the world, and he likes Calvin Phillips, too. Even if he doesn't think that nickname, the Yorkshire Pirlo, quite fits. Pirlo is a fan of Calvin Phillips, but isn't too sure about his fan nickname the Yorkshire Pirlo. He's a very good player but he doesn't have my quality, the Italian says. He plays very well in the same position. But we don't have the same skills, perhaps that helps explain why Italy prevailed once more in the Euro 2020 final. Mentally, it's different, we are Italian and you are English, he says. It was difficult for us to play the European final at Wembley but the moment was perfect. England meet Italy again next month and Pirlo would love to coach in international football one day. For now, though, small steps amid tragic and testing times. Fortunately, as a player I achieved a lot. I achieved what I wanted, he says. And now, as a manager, I want to achieve a little bit of what I achieved as a player.